Okay, everyone. Um, um, to our practice tonight. Welcome to everyone who is joining us for the first time. This is a guided practice, so you don't need to look at anything. Just sitting and going along and doing whatever you can to follow the instructions is all you need. Welcome back to everyone else, too, of course, who's been joining us for a bit. So good to see everyone in the space. As usual, particularly for those of you who are new, we like to begin practice with just optionally honoring and lifting up any prayer requests or aspirations that we're holding and that we wish for the community to hold and for us to hold in our practice together. And so prayer requests, are something like, I'd like to offer prayers for the health, of, my mother, or please pray for me as I go through a difficult situation. You don't have to be detailed, or you don't have to add names or anything. And that's a really great thing about prayer. I know I've been focusing on prayer quite a bit, but I think this is important too, is that when we're collectively offering prayers, like you don't have to be so specific. Like we know that just offering the prayers in a really ambiguous way will lend itself to whatever kind of improvement that we're praying for. It's hard to articulate, but the prayers and the energy and everything finds its way into being beneficial for whomever we're praying for, even if it's ourselves. Now, if you don't want to offer anything publicly, then just hold the prayer, bring the prayer into the forefront of your mind or consciousness, and that would be also really good as well. We spent a lot of time on prayer last week as well. And again, these videos, recordings are available, so you can go back, watch everything again in the series as well. But yeah. And for me, prayer is also emotional labor. When I feel powerless or without agency, I form a prayer around the situation I really want to see something different happen in for myself or for others, for the world. And I just form that prayer and I offer that prayer in my practice. I think is so liberatory, right? Because it's just to articulate what we need, what we need to see, what we need to see, and what we want to see for others around us as well. And this does have an impact. If we pray really, really hard, we get what we want. It's not what we want. It's not how prayer works. But I believe that whatever happens, right? And we also have to hold that as well. Happen should happen. I've known, in my people who consider themselves have a prayer. That they were prayers, right? That's what they did. That was their modality, was prayer. And I've talked to them, some of these folks I've been really close to, in my path, and just the way they talk about prayer, the way they feel close to, whomever they're praying to, be it God or be it a spirit or an angel or be it nature, or just like this expression of God for them, this experience of God, praying to that experience, the way that they feel connected. And I guess for me, it's the same. It's the way that prayer connects me to this higher consciousness, this higher level of energy. And the way that I'm swept up in that energy. I had a friend who was a healer prayer denomination of Christianity, and she would talk praying and feel this light in her mind, and she could feel that light in her body, and that was her connection to whatever she was praying to. And people would just call her and say, please pray for this person. And she would just put down the phone and just start praying. Because she had a previous career, and she realized that she had this love and talent of prayer. So she gave up that career and just became a full-time prayer healer, which was so beautiful. She was a very beautiful person, very beautiful spirit, pure light, energy, spirit. There's people like that, just like they're connected. Sometimes we would say to the source or to source, they're just connected, channeling the source. So of course, we're going to move into our prayer practice. So if you haven't already, if you want to, just go ahead and add that prayer, but we will begin as well. And let me just see where this begins. Okay. All right. So here we go. I found the beginning of the prayers. All right. So let's begin to transition into our practice, and just allowing yourself to come into a position that feels appropriate for you in our practice tonight. Checking in with the body, listening to the body, letting the body guide us into how it needs to be right now. Right? And when you're ready, I invite you to shift your attention to the breath, noticing the in breath and the out breath. Letting the breath slow down. So we begin to take our time, inhaling and exhaling. A deep inhale, a long exhale. And just a reminder, again, for those of us who are new, whenever you are engaging in something in the practice that feels tough or feels triggering, please take a break from the practice. Turn your mind to something that feels more neutral. Take care of yourself. And then when you feel a little more stable and grounded, you can return with us. But always take care of yourself, okay? Even with the breath. So inhaling, exhaling. To go a step further, I invite you to imagine inhaling into whatever experience in your mind or body that feels uncomfortable, feels difficult. Imagine that in-breath begins to dissolve that experience. And then when we breathe out, we release that energy from our experience. So inhaling deeply, dissolving, exhaling and releasing. And when we release, really letting go, letting that energy just move out of our experience. Just one more breath. And now, turning our attention out into the space around us. And I invite you to begin inviting your benefactors into the space around you. And our benefactors include any being that wants to see us well, happy, safe, free. And these beings include teachers and mentors, guides. They include ancestors, particularly those ancestors who are benevolent, who want to help us. Buddhas, bodhisattvas. It also includes the land under us, the sacred land that we're living and practicing on. You don't have to see anything or feel anything in particular, just opening our minds and saying, please come here, or welcome to all the beings who love me, who are protecting me, who are guiding me. Please come, and gather around me what will become a circle of care. We slowly begin to imagine that this circle of care, the circle of benefactors, begins to radiate this energy of care into the circle around us. This energy of care, this energy that that reminds us of other times in our life where we have been deeply cared for, are loved, are seen, are held. It's the same energy that our benefactors are radiating into the space. We can feel this energy or experience this energy in whatever way is appropriate for us. We can feel it as warmth, imagine it as light, connect to it as just pure energy itself, or whatever feels appropriate for you. Just allowing this energy to fill the space around you, letting it begin to make contact with your skin, any area on your body. And let this energy gently touch gently make contact with our bodies. This energy begins to gently hold us. And slowly, this energy begins to slowly seep into our skins, into our muscle, and bones, and tissue, into other organs, until it's completely saturating our bodies, and it begins to also fill up our. That it seems as if our minds begin to fill with this light, this warmth, our experience of spaciousness, perhaps. Minds, we begin to imagine that because of this energy, that our minds begin to unfold as this vast sky that's bright and borderless or boundless, stretching into forever. The brightness is the love, the care, is also our natural awareness that also radiates the expanse of our minds. Letting this spaciousness come into focus, become an experience. And in this boundless bright are just a few clouds of thought passing through. Noticing how these clouds of thoughts and emotions do not overcast the sky, but as they flow through like minds, the brightness and space is still evident, meaning that the sky-like mind holds everything. Thoughts and emotions are themselves expressions of the sky-like mind itself. As we turn into our prayer requests, tonight we will practice, again, connecting to the energy of what we're hearing as I offer them. Letting ourselves feel, empathize with the energy of the request, with the lives of those who are being offered in prayer. Feeling that for ourselves, feeling that for others. And then imagining afterwards, after that connection, offering this experience into the boundless sky-like mind. Because as we know from our practice in the past that the sky-like mind, the essence of the sky-like mind itself, is also the expression of the mind of Medicine Buddha. that our awakened mind is also the awakened mind of the deity, the medicine Buddha. So essentially, we offer the energy of this prayer into the mind of the deity. And this is one way we feel connected. Level of consciousness, or to the source, to the deity, or to God. Spaciousness, this openness, this brightness. And letting this openness everything that arises for us in our prayer. So we'll begin. We offer prayers for those suffering in Texas. Offering self for releasing patterns of anger. Offering prayers for my friend Lauren, who is grieving her mother. Offering. So again, touching into the energy of the prayer, everything into the spaciousness of the mind, which is also the mind of Medicine Buddha now. Offering prayers for survivors of sexual assault. Offer prayers for those in the bardo of death. Offer prayers for Asian people of no harm. Offer prayers for the massage community of Gainesville who are grieving the death of Maura. Offer prayers for those suffering from addiction. Offering prayers for Rod McGregor, who is recovering from knee replacement surgery, and his wife, Marcia, who is caring for him. Offering prayers for this land and all its creatures. Offering prayers for strength and gentleness in holding space and embracing darkness. Offering prayers for my friendships and truth, reciprocity in them. Offering prayers to dismantle all systems of oppression and violence. Offering prayers for my friend Joyce and her mother, Elsie, who was diagnosed with spine cancer today. For Thamkrana, Aviva Keller, the families of Lisa Smith and Anna Gottlieb, both of them ago. For the 500,000 people who have died of COVID and all of their loved. Offering prayers for Annette, whose partner Bob passed suddenly yesterday, and for Bob, for a peaceful. Prayers for my friend Anna, who is struggling with addiction and relationship troubles. Prayer for Lorianne, who is struggling with issues of aging and financial and emotional instability. Prayers for my friend B, and her healing. Prayers for my son who needs to pass a kidney and is suffering from grief, confusion, and mental illness. Prayers for my friend Holly and their friend who just COVID. Prayers for my grandmother who is dealing with intestinal discomfort. Prayers for my sister Michelle, who is struggling with a major life decision amidst grieving the recent passing of our mother and grandmother. Prayers for my granddad, father, uncle, auntie, and granny as she approaches the end. Prayer requests for courage for myself as I process a shocking reunion I had with my estranged sibling. Prayers that I may hold myself in them, if I can, with compassion and love as I process the hurt, fear, and woundedness that this relationship has brought to my life. Prayers for my grandmother. I pray for clarity, guidance, and connection. Prayers for my efforts to generational trauma that is held in my body. Prayers for Victor, for hopefulness. Prayers for Kristen, for sleep. Prayers for P. May she find relief from severe depression. Prayers for all those who have been silenced in significant ways, for all those who are suffering. Prayers for all Asians and indigenous people who have suffered oppression and violence. Prayers for my colleagues, for us all to find our way together and with love. Prayers for my friend and her family who are grieving a sudden and tragic loss today. May they find peace and support. Offering prayers for people who are abusive. Offering prayers for my dad getting dialysis in the coming 2 weeks. Offering prayers for those suffering with dementia. Offering prayers that Gloria can find affordable and safe housing and a community of friends. Prayers for my beautiful sister Mika. Prayers for Alyssa, and for all her grieving loved ones. Offering prayers for Milford Graves, who passed realm recently. May he have a fortunate rebirth, and may his students and loved ones carry on his teachings. Offering prayers of healing for my chronic moving and displacement. Offering prayers for my revolutionary comrade, EA. Offering prayers that all resources find their way quickly to Texas in abundance. Prayers for my friend Helen, who turned 94 on Saturday. Offering prayers for my mom, who is so tired and is struggling as she is being forced to get back into teaching in person this coming week. Prayers for her peace, energy, health, tenacity as she navigates this. Offering prayers for all friends and beings dealing with suicide ideation. Prayers for Adele's healing. And prayers for my friends, family, Jack and Teddy's healing. For prayers for all beings transitioning into the spirit realm, that all their obstacles are removed, that they are able to continue their path, that they have everything that they need. I pray for the healing of all trauma, the disruption of all systems of violence and hierarchy that produce this trauma for all of us. I pray for all those gathered here tonight in this virtual space that we have what we need. And I offer all those unspoken, unarticulated prayers into the expanse and spaciousness and warmth and clarity of the deity. And turning our attention now back to our heart sensors. Imagining that we're breathing in and out of the heart center. And whatever feels stuck or heavy, whatever feels thick, again, allowing ourselves to breathe into that experience, dissolving that experience and releasing that energy out. Letting go and offering this into the essence. Medicine Buddha, the healer. As we our main mantra tonight, Teata Bacon Se Maha Bacon Se Rasa Sumungate Soha, which will be in the chat box for one to see as we begin. Our chanting practice, continuing to release whatever feels heavy or tight, be it anxiety, work, breathing into it, releasing it. You may even Imagine that you are releasing this anxiety, fear, doubt, discomfort on behalf of anyone in your life who's struggling with this at this moment. That you become an agent of spaciousness and groundedness for those connected to you. 오세야 자운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 나서 숨문가 제소아 제야 자운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 나서 숨문가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 라서 숨은가 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 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 아다운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 마베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 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 마베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 만세 마베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 만세 마베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 라서 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 마베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 베겐세 마베겐세 라서 숨어가 제소아 제아다운 베겐세 begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, ma begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, begenze, also sunga de so. Teata, begenze, Mahaveganze, Raza Sumunga Soa, Zeya, Beganze, 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 Raza Sumunga Soa, Teta Beganze. Beyanze, ma beyanze, razo sumungate sua. Teata beyanze, beyanze, ma beyanze, razo sumungate sua. Returning our attention back into our minds, the spaciousness, the openness, brightness, allowing, allowing ourselves to be held in this wide open spaciousness of the mind, of our minds, which is also the mind of Medicine Buddha. And so slowly we will start our transition out of the practice, shifting our attention now to the seat, whatever we're making contact with, noticing the weight of our bodies, making contact with the seat, allowing that sensation to bring our attention back into the relative, into this moment, engaging a few final breaths, releasing whatever still feels stuck or solid. Okay. Turning our attention back to our circle of benefactors around us, and we thank them for their care, for their support. And we ask them to return back from where they came from. We especially ask any ancestors who have joined us to return back into the spirit realm. We turn our attention now to our final recitation for our practice, which is Shantideva's prayer, which you'll find in the chat box. We'll recite this 3 times as a way to close our time together, dedicate the merit, and so forth. We begin. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine. And may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space, and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine. And may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Hey everyone, thank you so much for your practice tonight. I'm just gonna look at this one question here. Can you explain how the broken heart relates to medicine Buddha? How are some simple ways that this could be practiced off the cushion? Um, we can't heal until our hearts get broken, and I think that's what many of us are terrified of, is the brokenheartedness. The brokenheartedness is this doorway into this deep empathy with ourselves and with the world. A healer can't heal until the healer realizes that they are struggling to be well as well. You know, um, there's these old this one particular old Hasidic parable or saying that I just learned, that God lays the teachings on our hearts, and when our hearts break, the teaching actually is able to sink down into the heart. That's the healing. Um, I only learned about how to be a healer when I start to intentionally allow my heart to break, and to stop fearing it, and stop being terrified by it. That the brokenheartedness is just what it means to be human, is what it means to love. There's the healing there. The brokenheartedness, when we apply practices like this, like practices of awareness and breath, it moves energy. That movement is the healing that we're looking for. Healing that isn't necessarily the alleviation of discomfort, but it's the ways in which we're able to form a new relationship with discomfort within the context of spaciousness. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Please come back um, and watch this recording, whenever you need to. Oh, and how are some ways that this practice off the cushion? Yeah, it's just noticing where we're holding on, and where we're tightening up and shutting down, because that tightening up, we think is going to like keep the heart from breaking, but let the heart break. Let the energy move, let the sadness come, and then hold the whole experience, just noticing, feeling it, right? Um, Not reacting to it, but just experiencing it. Experience the brokenheartedness. And then as you experience, realizing that you're experiencing the same brokenheartedness that every single being in this world has experienced, is experiencing, and will experience. Right? That you're experiencing your brokenheartedness on behalf of all beings. And that deepens our compassion and care, and isolation and individuality. When I am connecting my experience to the collective experience, then there's a sense of belonging. There's this experience of connectedness that cuts through isolation. Like I am having experience that countless beings are having. So I'm not so special, you know, or particular, or, having a basic human experience. And it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be afraid, to be anxious. It's okay to be traumatized. It's all okay. This is all a part of what it means to move through the relative in this body, with this mind, trying to make sense of all of this as we're attempting to touch into the source, the spaciousness, the emptiness, touch into the deity, touch into medicine Buddha, or touch into God, however your language is forming around this, but touching into to something whose nature is space, emptiness, light. That we can just tune into that source, that experience when we need to, in order to cultivate the spaciousness to hold the trauma of living. Okay. So again, thank you, everyone. I hope to see you again next Monday as well. Um, Thank you all so much, and I will see you then. All right. Bye, everyone.